Hi everyone, my name is Ruben Fierros. I'm the Director of Admissions here at the James E. Rogers College of Law. Today we are going to talk about the JD program for non-U.S. lawyers, and joining me today are two of our superstars that are in the program, and I'm going to turn it over to both of them so that you get to meet them. I'll turn it over to my colleague Dia first.
Hi everyone, my name is Dia Rakesh. I am from Bangalore, India. I did law school at OB Jindal Global University in Sonipat, closer to New Delhi in India. And I finished my 5-year course in 4 years to come here at the U of A and do my JD, or advanced JD.
Yeah, sweet.
Cool.
Hubert?
My name's Gilberto Galvan Zacarias. I go by Gilbert. I'm from San Luis Potosí, Mexico. I did my bachelor in laws in Universidad Nahuac, Querétaro. And just like Diaz, it was a 5-year program.
We're just smart people here today. I feel so special. Okay, so let's go into it. I have a fair amount of questions for both of you. We have a lot of prospective students that are interested in being in the space that both of you are in today. So we'll start off with a question for both of you. Can you share a little bit more about what you were looking for in law schools in the United States and what ultimately led you to apply and enroll in the U of A? And Dia, we'll start with you first.
So, like I said, my law school program in India was 5 years long, but you could cut it short to 4 if you were going to do a dual degree program. And while there were a lot of other schools, not just in the US, there were schools in the UK and Australia as well that were offering these partnership programs. I particularly liked the U of A's program, and just knowing that it was in a very culturally rich and diverse place, that was one of the reasons why I chose the U of A. And also just the access to the outdoors. That was the other controlling factor when I was making my decision. And I think more importantly, the fact that Tucson gets at least 360 days of sunshine was very important for me to know that I wasn't going to get snowed on, at least in main city Tucson. I wasn't going to have gloomy and rainy days. And yeah, growing up in a tropical country, that's kind of what I wanted when I moved.
Yeah. Follow up for you as you were sharing all of that. As a student from India, which is not very close to Tucson, how did the University of Arizona even show up on your radar as you were exploring law schools?
So we had a list of law schools that were in partnership with my law school in India, and so it was through that list that I was kind of cutting and choosing what my options would be. And I found out that our ex-dean, Mark Miller, was best friends with my dean in law school in India, and so it was just a lot of information I kept getting from everywhere.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, Gilbert, same question for you. You know, when you were looking at law schools in the U.S., what ultimately led you to apply to this school and enroll here?
Yeah, well, my university didn't have a partnership, so I had a more wider array of options. But my wife's a Texan through and through, so I was not even considering any law schools outside the U.S. She wanted to move back home for a while, so I just started browsing different options. I also considered the traditional 3-year path, but ultimately, because I'm a foreign student, I wouldn't be eligible for a lot of scholarships, financial aids outside of the traditional private financial market. So taking a 2-year JD was already making sense financially. And in that vein, some of the schools that offer a 2-year program are just not, they were not financially feasible for me. Paying $80K a year for tuition was not in my plans. And Arizona proved to be a great opportunity. It comes with a great price tag. So I think that ultimately led me to the 2-year JD here at the U of A.
Yeah, makes total sense. Okay, my next question is for you again. Compare your legal degree experience in Mexico to your experience here, which I'm sure could be pretty different. What are some key differences, but also what similarities did you see with your experience here compared to your first legal degree experience in Mexico?
Well, to me, the main difference is the length of the program. We start law school in Mexico straight out of high school, but the undergrad experience is built into the law school. So you're taking undergrad classes, but you're also taking legal classes, subject matter classes from day one. So you get to explore much more different areas of the law, whereas here my time was limited. So I only had 2 years to take all of the units I needed for graduation, so I had to fit as many bar classes or classes I was interested in taking in those 2 years. The main similarity to me is how the law is taught. So there's definitely the Socratic method. So that was the same thing. I felt right at home. But yeah.
Okay, great. Same question for you, Dia. As you think about your experience in India and your first legal degree, what were some key similarities, and then also what were some differences as you look back and reflect at the two different degrees that you will now have?
Well, echoing what Gilbert said, law school in India is also something you can do right out of high school, and so there was a lot more room to explore different areas. Like I learned about maritime law, I also did environment, and then I also did a lot of technical classes where more IP focused classes. So I had more time to work through classes, whereas over here, although I did do the 3 years, I still had more time than I would say what Gilbert did. So that's one. And I think the most stark difference would be class size. In India, my class size was 65 people and we had 10 sections. So that's 650 people in just the BA LLB program, which is a Bachelor's of Arts plus your JD equivalent. And then you also had another 650 for the BBA LLB. So it was a big class, right? And so coming here, and that was the other thing I was looking at, is what are the class sizes like? And when I saw on our website, it tells you the ratio of the students to teachers. And just seeing those numbers and seeing that, okay, I may only have 25 people in my small section, that was really inviting to me, just because those are the type of schools I've always gone to up until college. And so just knowing that I would be in a smaller school with more interaction one-on-one with my teachers, and I would know everybody in my class and upwards of grades, that was also really nice to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over 600 students. Okay, yeah.
That's a lot.
Times two. Yeah, gosh. Okay, that's a whole lot. All right, my next question for you, Gilbert. Outcomes is huge for all of the students that are here thinking about what they want to do when they grow up. So can you share a little bit more about what the job search looked like for you? What kind of support did you get from the school?
Right.
Did you feel like your prior legal degree gave you an advantage during your search?
I'm going to start with that last one question, and it definitely did. I practiced for almost a decade before coming here, so I had a very clear goal in mind, which actually proved to be not as helpful when navigating the OCIs, because I was kind of pigeonholing to tax litigation, which is what I did back in Mexico. And admittedly, I only met with the CDO advisors because it was a requisite for my P2P class, my first semester. But the CDO, the entire team, and especially Caitlin Quigley, she was instrumental to successfully navigate the OCI process. She helped me come up with a tailor-made pitch for a foreign lawyer to be out there offering himself to the different law firms, and I ended up landing a job with Fenimore Craig. I've thoroughly enjoyed my 1L summer with them, and I'm actually going to go back with them after graduation.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Doing what?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know. I submitted my associate intake form 3 weeks ago, probably, and they had me ranked at different practice areas that I would like to be a part of. They do have a cross-border practice, so it's nice that I don't have to fully forego of my Mexican legal experience. I'm not sure I'm going to be doing tax litigation anymore. That's probably a given. But maybe international contracting, especially in the field of agribusiness. Or I also selected emerging businesses and technology as my second option, because this last semester I took technology law and policy with Professor Woods, and it was an amazing class. So if I can explore that professionally, that would be amazing.
Yeah. It's exciting. You have to keep us posted on where you land. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, Dia, I'm excited for this question because you did something that state of Arizona allows some of our 3L students to do, or students in their last year. You were a student that decided to take the February bar while still enrolled as a student. Can you share why you made that choice?
I wanted to be done with law school faster. No, but
Okay.
I think it made a lot of sense financially, just because when you do it in the summer, you tend to have to extend your lease far beyond what it typically is, because regular lease cycles are August to May, and so you have to figure out where you're going to have to stay and then just go back and forth from there. Personally, it was something that I knew I could do because I was on a dual degree program. They were taking credits from my other law school, and so I would have had 6 credits to do this last semester, and I only ended up having to do 2. So if you're able to kind of set yourself up within your first couple of semesters by doing classes in the summer or just kind of front loading where you do 18 credits, like max out every semester, you will have less than 8 credits, which is what you need to be able to take the Feb bar. And just knowing that that was behind me and I could enjoy graduation, take a little break in the summer, and then start working, that was also a little bit of motivation for that. Yeah.
So for any student who's maybe considering doing that, would you recommend it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, especially having done it. I feel like I talked to you about it too, but because you're in the 2-year program, you
Right.
had credits that you couldn't push
I
off.
just couldn't fit it. Like,
Yeah.
I know some of the other AJDs ended up doing that,
Yeah.
but I didn't take 18 units at all during my law school experience.
Yeah, so I think it just kind of depends on what you're able to balance, and there's always life that gets in the way of everything. And so I was able to handle it with doing that many credits every semester, and doing the Feb bar has really given me 6 months off, like between after taking the bar to when I'm going to start working, which is July. Or even if I'd started in like August, I'd still have a good amount of time where I was finally decompressing after doing law school forever, right? So, yeah.
Right, yeah. All right, so I have one more question, and it's for both of you, but Gilberto, we'll start with you. For international lawyers looking at our JD for non-U.S. lawyers, what words of advice do you have for these candidates? Any tips or suggestions? Really anything, because the process I think can be a little overwhelming.
It is.
But anything that, as someone who's about to finish the experience, what kind of words would you leave for folks who are about to start this process?
I mean, honestly, it should be fairly obvious. In hindsight, everything is. But find an apartment before moving to Tucson. Like, it was the bane of my existence to have to do month and a half, a little bit over that, in a god-awful Airbnb. And yeah, it had me reconsidering all of my life choices up to that point. But it's been a great time. Like, honestly, it can and it will be overwhelming to sort out like the entire visa stuff, finding a place, if you're in the same situation I was in, finding the financial aid to do the program. So just know that everything's worth it. I definitely enjoyed my stay here. I'm always going to have fond memories of the classes I took here and the friends I made, the opportunities I was given. So it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for sharing. I love that. Okay. The same question for you, for students who are looking to do similar path, international lawyers who are considering the JD for non-U.S. lawyers here specifically at this school, words of advice, tips or tricks, what do you got?
Give yourself grace. It's going to take a second to kind of get used to being far away from home and like making new friends again. And just, you're going to learn a new way to learn the law all over again. It feels like something new, even though you're doing contracts and torts again. But it's a little different, but yeah, just give yourself grace and get a good bike lock so your bike doesn't get stolen.
Oh, that's a good one too. It's a very practical advice today.
Yeah, it is.
That's great. Well, thank you to our students today for your experiences and your stories. I just appreciate your time, and thank you to everyone watching today. If you have any questions or would like to learn more about the program, you can always reach out to the admissions office. We're always happy to help. Thanks for watching. Take care.